So I'm at Tufts University in the greater Boston area, and the encampment here is quite an interesting one. This encampment started around April 6th, and it was up for 12 days, and the students decided to take it down because they wanted to focus on a wall and an art installation. But after the events in Columbia University in New York, there was a call to rebuild the camp. The students also built a wall reminiscent of the apartheid wall in the occupied West Bank that has separated families and become a symbol of oppression worldwide. And the apartheid wall is quite incredible. It honors the resilience of journalists in Gaza. It also makes reference to other occupied zones like Indian occupied Kashmir, and also to places like Sudan and the Congo, who are under oppressive regimes and facing erasure from the West. It also makes reference to Cop City in Georgia, which is especially relevant right now given what we saw in Emory University. It also has a stunning illustration by the indigenous student group here at Tufts, which shows the connection between Palestine and indigenous people and the kind of similar erasure that they both face from settler colonialism. It also has an artwork that honors the martyrs in Gaza. It also names the black and brown people in the United States who were murdered by police officers from police departments that had some form of exchange and training with the Israeli military. Finally, the students say that this is about Palestine. They want to keep the discussion on Palestine. The students are quite clear that this is a fight for land back for all people under occupation. It's not about freedom of speech. This is about Gaza and this is about Palestine.
I'm taking part in this protest because of Tufts University's complicity in genocide. Since October 7th, tens of thousands of Palestinians have been brutally murdered by the Israeli occupation forces, and Tufts University is directly complicit in that genocide through their investments. So this encampment is meant to push for divestment, and that's why I'm here. It's absolutely unconscionable that our university continues to be complicit while every single university in Gaza has been entirely obliterated by Israel. I am a Jewish anti-Zionist, and part of the reason why I am so invested in the movement here in the US is because I believe that Judaism is not about forming a violent genocidal ethno-state on someone else's land. It's a fundamentally diasporic community. To use Judaism to justify the displacement and violence of millions of Palestinians, the same violence that was inflicted on my ancestors, is a complete aberration of my Jewish values. I think it's very important that the kind of very visible nature of this campus makes people confront the reality of what's happening on the ground in Palestine, which is, of course, what's most important to be focusing on right now. Many people in US universities are realizing the importance of fighting for divestment and realizing that we can no longer be complicit in these atrocities. However, I do believe that the role of the student movement is to demand divestment, and that liberation in Palestine will come from Palestinians, and that our role in the US is just to support that movement, not to center ourselves in it. Palestinians in the West Bank who live under apartheid, oftentimes their movement is constricted by large Israeli walls, but many Palestinians also paint on the wall and do art as a form of resistance. While obviously we have freedom of movement in this elite university, we are not constricted like Palestinians in the West Bank are. This wall is meant to make Palestine visible on campus and illuminate both the horrors of the Israeli occupation and the importance of Palestinian resistance. You can see Stop Cop City is one image on the wall because police repression in the United States is linked to Israeli violence against Palestinians because of the deadly exchange program where U.S. police departments train in Israel to learn tactics of repression. We have the Handala, symbol of Palestinian resistance dating back to, I believe, the 60s or 70s. This panel right there, which shows that all forms of colonialism are interconnected and that we here on Tufts University are living on stolen land. I recognize that it's not easy to just say, we're going to divest from Israel and then just do it on the spot. I know that it took Tufts University a while to divest from Russia after their invasion of Ukraine. But what we want is for Tufts to set up a committee to investigate their holdings in Israel. I think that's what they did when they wanted to divest from apartheid South Africa in the 80s, so that they can find out what companies they're invested in and then disclose that information to the public and then completely divest from any companies that have ties to Israel.